Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Charlene Taylor. I'm the Student Leadership Advisor for the Portsmouth campus here at TCC. And this afternoon, we are doing our leadership series. This is the first with one of our guest speakers. And the session today is Leadership Styles and Making Them Fit by Ms. Angela Lightfoot from the VCCS. If you have been at any of the VCCS student leadership conferences, you might have met her there. And so today she has an assessment which we have sent out to everybody before the session. So if you have not completed the assessment yet, please check the chat, and there is a link to the document there, and you can fill it out while she's speaking. It will auto calculate for you to let you know what your leadership style is. And with that, I am going to hand it over to Ms.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ms. Charlene. And thank you so much, Charlene and Sarah, for so much for just even inviting me to do this. I've known these wonderful ladies for a couple of years now and have been in with, student leadership with them and completely love the relationship we've been able to develop. So I'm so grateful so much for you guys for just inviting me here. My name is Angela Lightfoot, and yes, I do work for the VCCS. So we actually have a system office that actually helps with all the processes that happen at all the community colleges. So I'm actually the Capital Outlay Assistant Program Manager for that, which is a lot of big words to say that I do a lot of pushing paper and managing contracts. I'm also I work at John Tyler Community College as an Adjunct Professor. Been doing that for a couple of years now. And then before COVID hit, I was a qualified mental health professional going into people's homes and providing therapies for them, for adults and children. Well, COVID hit, and I decided that I wanted to stop going into people's houses. I want to keep myself safe and my family too. So I switched things over, and in the last couple of months, I've actually fully engaged myself into becoming a mental health wellness coach. So that's kind of where my whole background comes from. I do have a background in leadership for student success. So this is kind of my bread and butter. This is what makes me tick. For those of you that I've seen before in the past at the student leadership conferences, hello again. You'll see this information a little bit different than we did it last time, and I hope it'll be really great and engaging. So because we are doing this through Zoom already, how many of you guys have already had more than one Zoom meeting or class already today? Give me just a show of hands for those that I can see. And if I can't see your face, throw me up some heart signs or some hand signs. Yeah, so a couple of us, and I feel maybe already been on Zoom a little bit. Well, we're gonna do the best. I'm gonna do the best I can to try to make this as interactive, maybe a little bit fun, as much as possible. So if you guys can throw up plenty of emotion, the emojis for me, that's super helpful. Put lots of stuff in the chat. Let's have some really great conversation back and forth. The one part that I'll love to say about the chat, it's able to help me get some information so that I can, when I do this the next time, I've got some really good tangible things to do. So really just interact with me and let's have some fun today. All right, so leadership styles and making them fit. Right now, throw in the chat, what are some of the roles that you're already being a leader in your life? Some of you might be moms, right? Some of you might be dads. Some of you might be the president of your club and organization. Let me see some things that you guys are doing and showing some roles that you guys are currently in. For example, myself right now, in my household alone, since, we're in COVID, quarantined up still. Right now, welcome to my she shed. I actually have a separate spot out here. Yes, my lovely she shed out here where I get to do all three of those jobs that I just talked about. And in my leadership role, it's like I can have my own separate space so that in my household, I know what I'm doing as far as that because I run that household, right? But then my leadership style here is I get to pick on different leadership styles of just being here in my office. So we've got some church youth groups, awesome sister. Yep, big sister myself. And if you ask her, she thinks she runs it, but I definitely know that I'm the leader of that relationship. We all know, right? We got some little brothers. Oh, that's excellent. What were you going to say, Sarah? Oh, you're muted. Sorry, I can't hear you. Oh, you're good. Okay. So mom, wife, mentor, coach, team lead, mom, manager, vice president of clubs and organizations. Perfect. So you'll see as we go through this presentation, I'm going to hit some real high level because I know we've got 30 minutes. You've been on Zoom already. We'll keep this really light and fun. So we'll do some high level ones. When I hit the leadership style that you think is you, I want you to throw me up some heart signs, some high fives, some things, and let me know in the chat also how you think some of these skills really say something about you. Okay. So one thing I love to share first is just simply this definition that Forbes magazine put out for leadership. Honestly, to me, this is like the best, the most simplest form that makes a lot of sense, especially for us in this modern day world today, right? So leadership is a process of social influence which maximizes the efforts of others towards the achievement of a goal. right? So that seems so simple, right? That we've got a goal. I figure out who's on my team that's going to help me with this goal and the type of influence, which just means how you help them do things, right? So it just kind of puts it all together for what leadership is. So we're going to start off with this guy. I wish he was my actual friend because this guy's actually pretty cool. His name's Daniel Goleman, and he has this book called The Principal Leaderships, Unleashing the Power of Emotional Intelligence. And by just simply doing that, he has come up with these 6 leadership styles that we're going to just gently kind of go over today. One big thing that I'd just like to say at the beginning, if you all had the opportunity to do the assessment already, you have a really clear idea of what your goals are. Right? I mean, what your leadership styles are. If you hadn't had the opportunity to get it fully done, just do that first column, and that'll give you kind of a really quick snippet of what you could be, and you can finish it, of course, later. But just kind of get an idea of who you are. The one thing about Daniel that I really love is he says that for you to actually be your best lead, to be your best type of leader, you've got to have 4 out of these 6, which he's going to say you're visionary, affiliative, democratic, and coaching. Okay. The other 2 that we'll talk about are ones that, you know, you want to use those in moderation. So we'll get to those. So let's start off nice and gentle. So if you were a visionary leadership is your style, give me some hearts right now. Let me see how many people we've got. Or some hand raises because I can see faces too. A few, awesome, great. So visionary style, it's the first one. It's the one that's actually most liked, most used. So we'll start there, right? So visionary leaderships basically have that come with me or join me mentality, right? They build their leadership on inspiring and motivating people to pursue their long-term vision, right? They have really great communication skills. They're really great with being transparency and letting everybody know what's really going on, and great at setting goals, right, for the organization. Some of you might be, you know, the presidents. I saw presidents of your organizations, club presidents. You know, if you have this style, then everyone knows they can easily talk to you, right? They know that you know what's going on in the group, that they can get some information. Potentially, if this is also your leadership, you like to deliver positive motivation, right? I see, Sassy. I see you waving in your head. Yeah, you want to give that really good positive motivation. They kind of are like the cheerleaders, right? It's like, this is my big picture. This is my big plan. These are some opportunities for us to bring it all in, and then let's just get it done, right? So the big part about this leadership style is that they have to really trust their team, right? Because how are you going to be a great leader of a team if there's not a lot of trust there? Because then are you going to be really comfortable with sending them off on their way to do what you need them to do? Yeah, no, I don't think so, right? So this leadership style is best used when change is required for a new vision. So let's say, you know, right now, many of us are doing things online, right? We're doing all of our classes online. Somebody had to come in and really shift this thing. You know, none of us really, you know, many of us really had no idea what they were doing. When I switched from teaching in class to online, I had no idea. It took someone else's vision to really make this thing come to play, right? Or when just some clear directions needed, right? Because you're going to give them the motivation and help them continue. So if you can think of a few jobs, few careers, or a few opportunities in your life where you definitely are like, yeah, that visionary leadership style is definitely me, go ahead and share it in the chat for me, okay? All right, so we'll go to the next one. And that's the affiliative leadership, right? This one is most definitely myself, right? This is my leadership style. These are the people that have the complete focus on the people. The people come first. Does not matter what other tasks are going on. Doesn't matter whatever's going on. Let me focus on you, right? They're going to build these positive relationships within the organization and that harmony piece. So with me, when it comes like even counseling, it's important that I know that people are coming first, right? Because there's what's, you know, what matters. And that it doesn't matter what all the other tasks that are going on. Let's focus on making sure that emotionally, physically, you are well taken care of, right? These are really great leaders because people have really great relationships with them. Maybe they call them on the weekend and ask them how they're doing with their kids. With the organizations, you know, you might have heard that one of your members got a flat tire. Just calling in and checking on them, right? Is such a great way to be able to show that you really care about them, right? Many of us in our lives maybe have had great coaches or great, you know, bosses that you really felt like they cared about you. Because how many of us know what it's like when you definitely know your boss does not care, or when your club organization, you know, president is like, man, I really don't care about you. It really changes things, doesn't it? It makes that loyalty just go right out of the window, right? And it also makes it so that, you know, when it's like you're an affiliative leader, you really want to allow your team to be creative and to take risks without being ridiculed or being like made feel bad they made a really stupid or dumb or whatever decision, right? Nobody wants to feel like that. right? So the affiliative leader's like, no, go out, do your thing. This is so great, honestly, if you think about it. For like a startup company that cares about what the people are doing that are part of it. Like if they're trying to start up an organization that maybe is going to help with, childhood diabetes, right? They care because they care so much about the people. They know that the people that maybe are a part of that organization care just as much. And they want to be really great leaders to making sure they're focusing on the root of it, right? So if this is your leadership style, go ahead and throw me up some hearts. Who are my fellow affiliative leadership style people? Do I have any? A few? Awesome. Great. Right, Sarah. Yep. And I will tell you, if some of you have finished this test and you showed that really high in a few areas, that's really great. That's actually a really great sign. So if you're like, yeah, that's me 2, that's me 3, even better. Okay. So for the affiliative leadership style, you can think of some careers and things, throw them in there, or some ways that you've shown it in your life. Okay. So next, the coaching leadership style. Throw up some hands for me, you guys, if you were involved in sports and you very much like, yeah, I feel like I understand some coaching styles. Absolutely. I really feel like for myself, I ran track in high school and college. I'll tell you the things that they've taught me by their leadership style, by being a coach, most definitely I'm using it in today's world, right? I'm using it in a lot of the things that I'm doing. I even do it as a professor, that some of those things are really telling people, hey, try this. Really works, right? So with these teams, they have a very high level of collaboration. These coaches basically are like, they want to make sure they help the team develop, right? They want to make sure that we're taking you from here to here, right? They want to improve the team, making sure that the individuals themselves are good, as well as they're a good fit for the team, right? This one takes a lot more effort to do because you have to what? Take time to get to know the people on your team, right? Take time to get to know what their interests are like, find out what their skill set is, because I'll tell you right now, if anyone ever tried to put me as a treasurer for any club or organization, y'all, I'm not going to say money's missing because I took it. Money's going to be missing because I just don't, me and math just aren't, we're not a really good strong suit, right? So it's really making sure that they understand my skill set. Right? So the best part is they are really aware of self-awareness, like who they are as a person and what the team needs to develop, right? So maybe some of you have done some team building exercises together. Maybe for my job, we went to a ropes course one time with all of my team members. And just to be able to build that trust with them, but then for them to encourage me to move on, giving me even the resources that I needed to know how to get over some of these fears, right? They want to build that one-on-one relationship with them. They definitely love to provide positive encouragement, but also have that opportunity to have that open engagement, that I'm able to talk to you about what's going on, but also if there's some things that are like those critical things that you need to work on, some crucial things you need to work on, and maybe I'm a little critical about it, being able to have that positive dialogue so that you're not just making them feel bad about themselves, but showing them, hey, these are some ways that you can be better, right? So if you guys had me as your treasurer, it might be like, Angela, here's some books for you to read. Dagnabbit, Angela, here's a calculator. You know what I'm saying? You can make it really simple as that. And that's the best part about coaching style is that they really build the trust. They give that positive reinforcement. They're open to communication, and they really give you the resources and tools to say, hey, why don't you just try it this way, right? It gets them to buy into the big picture of it. They can offer lots of direction, but yet you're really trusting your team. So this one's best used to help the team members improve performance and develop some long-term strengths and skills. So to me, this is one of my most favorite leadership styles, but as you can see, this one just takes some time. But I'll tell you, there's some things that you can really develop within this one, because my thing is, how many of you guys are a part of a team and you recognize, I'm dealing with some folks that just need a little extra assistance, right? They just need a little extra help. Be open to that. You have no idea the type of talent you might have in your organization by getting to know someone a little bit better and really give them the resources to be able to do better. I feel like you guys are already in college, right? You're already being pushed to your limit and trying to figure things out. Being able to support each other is super important. And if you're in this leadership style, especially for many of your clubs and organizations or even sports teams, this one definitely use some of these skills, okay? So if this one was yours, let me see some heart signs for some coaching leadership style. All right, Declan, awesome. Thank you guys, thank you so much. So Riley, just nod your head. Do you feel like some of these definitely fit your style? Yeah, absolutely. So it's so great to be able to use these skills, because I tell you, there's some that you want to just pick that are really great with this style, okay? And also with this one, I'd like to just say that it's also that coaching mindset. To be able to be this style, you've got to be improving yourself, right? To be able to give good, you got to get good, right? So you got to be able to take the time to learn yourself, teach yourself so that you're able to give to the next person, okay? So we'll go to the next one. And this is the democratic leadership style, okay? This one is definitely one that I think many of us can fall ourselves into. This, yep, I see them thumbs up and some heart signs, absolutely. This one just so fits for, I think, the world we even live in today. I was just reading an article that said the democratic leadership style is, especially with this more modern, true virtual world, they're seeing a lot more people that want to do this, because now we have an opportunity, what? To be able to talk to each other from whether we're in a vacation home somewhere, in our she shed, you know, at the office, we're able to develop a lot more consensus and collaboration. So this is that team that they will empower their team to take full part in the decision-making process. And I'll tell you, for your clubs and organizations, doesn't this one just make the most sense, right? Because even if you're the president, you can't make all of the decisions, right? You're in a club, you guys work together. To not get the consensus of what's really going on between your other team members, you're doing yourself a disservice, right? The people on your team will feel super empowered to be able to give suggestions, to give ideas to any of the team members. And then they really want to say, hey, let's vote on this. Like, how many of you guys are like, yeah, for us to do anything, we got to vote, right? Got to vote for it, right? Got to make sure everyone's on the same page. And then, but the big part about the democratic leadership style is still being what? The president, or still being the leader. You get to make the final decision. But you're doing it based on truly being able to hear what's going on and how other people feel, right? So let's say like maybe you're a part of SCA and you want to do like a really big club fair, right? To be able to get people to do what they need to, you have to be very much to empower them to, hey, what kind do we want? Do we want to do a kettle corn, machine coming out, or do we want to do tacos, right? It could be something as simple as that, but making sure that your team is like, yeah, thanks for asking us for our opinion on that, because you know what, so-and-so doesn't like popcorn and gets stuck in their throat all the time, right? And we don't want to have to deal with that. So it really gives you that opportunity to really hear what's going on. Sometimes it can be those really, really crucial decisions also. Recognize that if someone's on the team that's just not doing their part, right? They're just not holding up their end of the bargain. It allows it to be more of a consensus from the group that something needs to be done. So in this style, it really gives you a lot of backup. Right? But recognize the leader has to approve everything and makes all the final decisions. But they are going to strive for as much collaboration, but also empowered by you all having that collaboration. It almost makes everyone in the group feel like miniature leaders, right? It makes them feel like they've got some power and some real say in things. And doesn't that just seem like it's going to motivate them, empower them, maybe make them work harder, develop some trust? But the big part is you've got to really get them to buy in to what's happening. You've really got to set the big picture and make them really believe it with you, for them to be able to give you what you need back, right? The high value is placed on the group's participation and insight. This would be really great. So like if you're really coming into this, let's say you're coming into the club and organization really brand new, right? And somehow you made it as president or vice president, you're coming in really brand new. It's so great to be this type of leader. Why? Number one, you're building some really great harmony and some really great empowering of your team. The fact that you know that your team is skilled and strong enough to be able to support you with whatever you need. Being this style, it's just all supportive, right? It does still take a little bit of time, right? And like Sarah said, right, it's inviting people to the table. That's a big statement I think that's been coming around a lot lately, is inviting people to the table to really talk and discuss. You're really able to push things in the right direction for your team and organization because you've got everybody that believes in your mission, they're bought into it, and they trust you to make the final decision for the team. So this one, like I said, it's basically you've got to build some consistent, if you've got to build people to really buy into what you're doing and everyone's in the consensus of saying this is right, or if it's a new idea. Another one for this one is really great for startup companies, right? If you think of a startup company owner and they've really got to like, hey, I got an idea to create this app that'll take pictures of things and do something, right? You might need the buy-in of everybody's idea to make it better. Maybe we should use this colors, or maybe we should make sure that we launch it on Apple before Android to see if we can get a buy-in. It's really getting the ideas from people and then having them come together and say, all right, which idea do we like the best, right? So it keeps it really open. So if this was your leadership style, I know there's a couple of you, right? There's a couple of us that were this one, absolutely. So this one definitely used. So now we get into the ones that are just not so great. They have their time and place. But overall, I'll tell you, these next two, if this is your leadership style, I'm going to tell you right now, you are going to be exhausted by the time you're done, right? And so is your team. So with pace setting leadership is when the leader they set the example, And they want high performance, they want a high pace, and they want high quality. So you saw there, it said they want to do things better and faster. So they're that leader that's like, do as I do now. I like to joke about this one and call this one my mother. You know, she was very much that way when I was a child. Don't y'all tell her. I'm gonna tell you right now, if y'all tell my mom, I'm coming. So like, she, you know, she's like, when I was a kid, so tell me, okay, I would know on Saturday mornings when I'd wake up, there was music playing in the background and a bucket sitting at my door. Wave of hands, how many of y'all know exactly what that meant? Yep, cleanup day, right? I didn't need to ask any questions. I knew what I had to do. And it was do as I said now. Like before she'd even open the door, I knew I was dressed and ready to go, right? And she knew that she wanted good performance, quick pace, like because I hurry up and got it done, I got to play, right? And then high quality, you know, I'm not gonna say she did the white glove dust and, you know, dusted and all, but she, you know, wanted good quality for her home. They very much value what the end goal is, right? So it's like, I don't really care how you do it. I don't care how you get it done. Just get it done and get it done right and get it done right now, right? The only problem that really is bad for this is they make them uphold and demonstrate this high standard of performance. And if you've got people working at 120% the entire time, it's going to exhaust them, right? It's going to really pull some things out of them that you're like, I can't do this, right? It can be very detrimental to your team, can completely suck the motivation and engagement and long-term success right out of your program, right? So don't recognize one thing. If this is your leadership style, if it is, you know, don't be embarrassed to put up a few heart signs if it is, because for sometimes this one just works. If we've got to get something done and get it done now, I don't have time to give you all the explanation. I don't have time to get everyone's vote to figure out if we're going to go this or this. I got to make the big decision. I need you to do it with me now. The one part about this, and this is also where I say it's like my mother, shush, is the fact that if I didn't do it right, she'd do it instead, right? They take it over. You know, my mom, she's fine. I get over it now and I'm fine. But in the same token, in your clubs and organizations, if someone's really given their best effort and trying to do something and they don't do it right and you just snatch away from them and never trust them to do it again, it's really going to be detrimental to your team. And my thing is, as we know, it all kind of works together. And as a team, all it takes is one person to feel like they don't matter, to just see where else it goes, right? And it could be really detrimental to what you're doing for your club and organization. But like I said, this one is that quick results, high yielding things. They want to get things done quickly, okay? So the last one, that commanding leadership style, right? This is that one where it's like, I want to do what I tell you. I'm not asking any questions. I just need you to do it. So the commanding leadership style makes all the decisions. They simply give orders to their team and expect it to get done. They are usually, they have a high clarity of what the rules are. So they already know who, what, when, where, how, and why. They know what the roles are, and they know what everyone's expectations are. So they already know what your skill set is. So by really being directive and telling you what to do, they're just sending you off on your way. On the other side, though, this works really well if you got some people in your club and organization that have no idea what they're doing, they just want to be a part, right? So this is that one thing I'll tell you. This is the part about commanding leadership style when it works. You've got people on your team that have no idea what they're doing. You being very direct and saying, I need you to do this, this, this. I need you to get streamers, balloons, and the cupcakes. And you're just commanding them what to do. It allows them to go, they can do it, come back, and you're done, right? The other part about this one, though, is that it kind of turns into micromanaging. And we hear that word and it just makes me kind of cringe up quite a bit, right? Just because I'm like, I don't need you over my shoulder telling me who, what, when. We're all adults here, right? I got a brain just like you do. I don't need you telling me every little thing to do, right? It also makes it so that the part about this commanding that I need y'all to make sure you don't do is that they sometimes make threats to people. You know, maybe you've been in a job where it's like, hey, if you don't get this thing done by midnight, you're fired, right? They're quick to just let you go. So it's like they use threats as their tactic to try to make things happen. I don't know about you guys, but there's no way that I could figure out a way of being creative when I feel like I'm being micromanaged, or I feel like I can't take any risks because I'm going to get fired, right? They just completely take it over the top. And can't you see how this is even exhausting for them? Right? It takes a lot of work to be mean, y'all. I just put it that way. It takes a lot more work to try to put in all these efforts, you know. And my thing is, if this is you, your team will overthrow you, right? They'll want you gone because just you're being sometimes too much. Like I said, though, there's times and spaces to use this. The one that I really instantly think of is, let's say it's the one thing I learned in CPR, right? If I'm the first one to the scene, I assess the situation and I give direct orders of telling people what I need them to do so that I can perform this simple task, right? So I think of this, even in the big scale things of, of a surgeon, right? I just need the people that are assisting me to just do their job and get it done because we're trying to save a life here, right? Some of your decisions might not be so hard, but there might be some where it's like, I don't have time. We just have to get an answer done, right? So best done when we just got to do things quickly, right? So that was a really quick overview. My last little wrap up for you guys is, we asked, it was this really great study that was done. They asked a lot of college students, what do you want from a good leader? Like, what do you truly want? So they came up with these top 5. If any of these top 5 are yours, you'll notice that I've got numbers above it. Throw in the chat which ones you think are your top 3 that really matter the most to you, or that you display yourself, right? So to feel respected, valued, and treated fairly. That really matters to people. Just knowing that, hey, you respect me in the job that I'm doing. Doesn't take a lot to give people respect, y'all. It doesn't take a lot at all. Just letting them know that you hear them, right? Good working relationships and a sense of camaraderie, right? There's something about when we all have these same goals and like the same things that we can actually work together, get the job done. For many of us, it's like my family, I've got my family that I live with, but I also got the family people that I work with too, and I care about them. Number 3, to have clarity of what is important and what to focus on, right? We don't want to just be sitting into a room and just be, not sure what we want to do and what our real goal is. No, you give me a goal, I got something to work towards, right? Number 4, a sense of a challenge. First, I look at this one, I was like, nobody wants to be challenged. And I'm like, nah, yes, you do. That's when the creative juices start flowing, right? When you get put with maybe a little bit of a deadline, you're like, I got to get this done. We've got to get this done. Sometimes the most amazing things, right? Some of the best jobs even come out of a crisis, right? It definitely does. And then the 5th one, opportunities to learn and to grow, right? So even in your organization, recognize people really want to learn and grow, not only from you, but from other people in the group. And you should want to empower the people on your team to learn and to grow and to feel comfortable with really talking to you about whatever is going on, okay? So thank you guys so much. I see a lot of 1s, a lot of 3s, a lot of 5s, absolutely. And these are things, I want you all to be able to take those things that you said make a good leader and apply those to your life. Like I said, it doesn't take much to respect somebody, right? Just give them a little bit of time, give them a little bit of effort, really start to just trust them, give them the reins to do something exciting. And if they don't do it so great, give them support and give them resources to help them do it again next time. Give them a good team to help work with them. There's so many workarounds, okay? So many workarounds. So thank you guys so much. You guys have been absolutely great. I hope this was a really great little quick overview over leadership styles. If you need the slides, I'd be happy to send them out. But I really just want to empower you all that you all already took this time and effort right here to be great leaders in your life by just coming to this. Just think of the skills you now have, that's something you've now learned to be able to apply yourselves to be great leaders. And I just encourage you to be open and really focus a lot on self to be able to give a lot back. So I thank you guys so much, and I hope you guys have a great day.
Thank you so much, Angela. Before you go, we have to let open up the floor and see if there are questions.
Oh yeah, do we have any questions?
We had a lot of chatter in the chat, I should say.
Yeah.
One thing I noticed is when you put up those 5 options, I think everybody selected number 1. Respect is absolutely key.
Absolutely.
So guys, if you have a question, feel free to unmute yourself and speak up, or you can drop it in the chat, either way.
Yeah, please do.
I just want to let you guys know that this is being recorded, and so we will be putting it on the Virtual Student Center YouTube page. So, if you need to go back and really absorb this information, it'll be there for you guys to go back and look at probably in about a week or so.
Yeah, I'd also like to say we will start a discussion thread in the Virtual Student Center about in particular, I think really this last slide. So I encourage you to pop in and give some feedback if you were able to attend today. For the other individuals there, I think we all are really quick to say, yeah, I don't like this, I don't like this. One thing that came to mind for me, Angela, when I was really thinking about the last slide in particular is whether or not we breathe life into that when we are leading with others. So the number one thing, you know, oh, we want respect, we want to feel valued, and we want to be treated fairly. Like those are things that are really important to us as individuals when we're thinking about what a good leader is but essentially, you know, are we walking the walk to go with the talk, right?
Absolutely.
And when we're in those situations, maybe where we need something quickly, or there's a deadline, or there's pressure, are we still maintaining that number one, or do we begin to shift somewhere else?
And I like to add, Sarah, that even if you recognize, because sometimes we're all human, right? We need something, and sometimes the good manners kind of slips away for a second, right? The things that we were taught slip away. It is nothing to apologize. It is nothing to come back and try to correct it. It's nothing to write somebody a note to say, hey, I know I came off a little harsh and rushed for this moment. I apologize. I just need to get it done, but I will make sure that I do better next time. Let the people know that's a vulnerability thing. Vulnerability is a very strong asset for you to be able to have in your life. And letting somebody know, like, hey, I'm sorry I wasn't able to give you the respect you needed today. Takes nothing. It takes nothing. And it means so, so much. So yeah, thank you, Sarah. That's a great point. And like you said, and also us flipping it, right? It's like coaching. We got to be good to ourselves. You've got to respect yourself, right? You've got to respect yourself where you can respect other people. You've got to value yourself, right? To be able to value your team, to know your value, right? And then treating people fairly. I don't think anybody else wants to be treated unfairly, right? You want to be treated right, so treat other people right as well. Absolutely.
So I had one more thing too, Charlene. What do you got?
So Abigail has a question in the chat.
Oh, yes.
She wrote, what experiences do you think shaped you most as the leader you are today?
Say that one more time, Charlene. I'm sorry.
What experiences do you think shaped you most as the leader you are today?
Oh, okay. That's a great question. So I think that in my life, I've had a lot of weird things just kind of happen. Where, like, you know, I was at Virginia Tech, I was at Radford when the shootings happened at Virginia Tech. That made me even just change the fact of what my major was going to be. I went from being, a theater major to realizing, no, I want to be in psychology, right? It took something, right? And I'm not saying it's always going to take negative things that happen to you to make things change, but that was definitely something that was very significant in my life. That really made me realize there's a lot of people out there that need some help. There's a lot of people out there that just need somebody to talk to. And it made me really realize that that's who I want to be. So in that leadership role, it's, I've got to make sure that I was good, right? I had to make sure that I was good after all that happened and made sure that I had my trauma in check so that I'm able to even take on other people's stuff and take on other people's problems and really help them and decisively help them get through. So I think that a lot of the things, and I think that anytime I've met someone, the other part about me is that I love people. I've got a lot of mentors in my life that have been able to I lead by example from them. I can see that they're amazing leaders in the different things that they're doing. And I let them really give it all to me, right? I really allow them to trust me, to be able to develop these relationships where I can learn from them. And I think that with a series of just life expectancies, life events, and really taking risks, it's really made me be where I can comfortably say, I'm a really great leader of my own life. Some other things might need some work, but of my life, I'm a phenomenal leader of it. So I hope that answers your question.
That's fantastic, Angela.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this has been so enriching, and I think everybody, and yes, Abigail said yes. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thanks, Abigail.
I think we are all really. It just makes you want to reflect more on yourself and see how you can do better, and go out and really make some great accomplishments. And I love this presentation. I saw you do it last year, and I was like, I need her to come talk to our students. and so I think this has been really great. Does anybody else have a question before she goes?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
My comment is, hello, how you doing, Angela? I'm LaTanya Clark. Anyway, my comment is, when I was growing up, my mom always said, if you're the smartest person in your group, it's time to change your group. Because you always want to learn and grow. And that's what I see here with our students. They get it one click and they stay there and they start outshining. So don't ever let anybody dim your light. You just tell them, put on some sunshades and keep it moving. That's what we got to do now. I say that to myself too. I'm speaking to me as well, because I have those same issues at times. When you find out you're the smartest one in your group, it's time to change.
Absolutely.
Good.
Absolutely. Absolutely. My mom, she would add to that and be like, if people in your group don't empower you,
all of that,
feel good about yourself, they really try to disvalue you. Get out of that group too, right? Find there's millions and millions of people in this world. There's people that will empower you, but there's also lessons learned when things are a little tricky too. So no, thank you so much. I appreciate that comment.
Yeah.
You're getting a lot of love in the comments.
Yes.
You guys are so sweet. I'm sending you guys hearts straight back. One fun thing that I'd love to tell you guys, give this quiz when you this little assessment to your president, vice president, secretary. Give it to the people that are actually leaderships in your groups and stuff, right? Or even it's a great way when people are getting a part of a group, really knowing what their leadership style is, even if they're not playing a big leadership role, knowing what people's styles are really helps. Because you try to get a commanding person and a visionary person together, it's a lot more struggle, right? It's a lot of struggle. Recognizing that you have somebody commanding in a role that needs really quick decisions, that they don't really need a lot of stuff, make sure they know, hey, when we have to get to this type of stuff, I pick you, right?
Sir.
Very
so
important.
I just wanted to chime in really quick and bring reference back to, I think, your first slide that you shared, and the fact, and you did mention that, while there are 6 different styles that we talked about, that, having at least 4 central ones and having those really help elevate more into your dynamic levels of leadership. And a lot of I know I personally am like 2 points away between one. Others, they share numbers when I did my score. And I know, I think Riley chimed in and said, she's part coaching, part democratic, and that it is a combination of those things. So I wondered if you could just take a minute and chat about how they meld together.
Absolutely.
Versus individual one.
Yeah, no. So when it comes, like I said to myself, I will definitely say when it comes to me, I'm a visionary, I'm affiliative, and I'm democratic. And I have a little bit of pace setting in me too. That pace setting works when I've got to be that leader in my household, and we got to get the house clean, and we got to get stuff done. I do the vision, it's use them when they need to be best fit. When I need to be more visionary, maybe I have a new client that's even just coming to me, right? And we really have to figure out, okay, what do you want to do with your life? Where are you trying to go? Really kind of buy into what their vision is to get them to buy into what we're trying to do. So when it comes to different clubs and organizations, right? Being able to do those pick and pieces of those things, right? And recognize when they're needed. And maybe sometimes when you do need to pull back, because there will be some times where it's like, with the Democratic, that your team is divided, right? And you just have to maybe have that thing where it's like, I've just got to make the decision. And maybe I have to come back with that whole affiliative part and kind of build that harmony back with the group again. Because it was a bad decision. We didn't have a choice. It was what it was. But now I got to go back and use my affiliative and build this harmony back up again, right? So it's really being able to take parts of it and use it, use it interchangeably. Sometimes you got to plug and play with a lot of these things. But I'll tell you, you keep your visionary up, keeping people to really see the big picture of what you want to do, you're going to have the buy-in. Then you have the visionary part where it's like, hey, if you can get them to be able to see what they're even able to do for themselves, that they feel like they've got support because they've got the harmony within the group, that they trust their leader, it's pulling all these pieces together. So with each one, pick and choose truly which one works best for the situation. But recognize that if you are doing commanding and pace setting, you're going to be exhausted, right? It's going to be a lot. To expect so much from your team, you're the leader. You've got to be able to give them the support so they know that they're able to even keep up with you. So I hope that answers your question, Sarah. You just kind of have to pick and choose which ones work. And then the big part, be intentional about what you're saying you're going to do. Don't try to tell me that you're an affiliative leader when you're really pace setting. Be honest with yourself, right? Be honest with your team. Let your team be honest with you. Would be the best thing that I would say. Absolutely.
I think that's also key when doing the assessment and I think, Sarah, you pointed this out when you sent it out, be honest about how you fill this out, not what you aspire to, but how you actually are. Yeah. So that you actually get your honest, true leadership styles. And then, from that, you can say, well, maybe I need to work on this maybe I need to add a little more of that.
Yeah.
And gives you a direction.
Yeah.
But we have another question for
Yeah.
you, Declan. Declan asks, what would you do at times that you want to be a leader, but you know that it can also be necessary to be a follower? How do you understand when another leader is needed instead of a follower?
Ooh, that is a good question. The first part that I'd like to start with that one is recognizing that to be a good leader, you've got to be able to follow at times. You just have to. You've got to be able to sometimes say, hey, this is not my skill set. Let me relinquish this role to somebody else that's on your team. For myself, I'm not the best graphic artist, designer person trying to figure out how to make slides and things like that. It's not really my skill set. Just think of even the time was wasted of me trying to do this thing when there's somebody else that could have been like, man, I could have had that done for you in 10 minutes, right? So for me, it's really taking that time to pull back a little bit and be like, okay, I recognize that this is not my skill set and I maybe need to follow the direction of somebody else. And it could be the fact that someone just has the experience, they have the connection, they've got the networking, that it's okay to loosen the reins and to allow yourself to follow with whatever skill set they have. Like I said, especially with coaching, it's almost like it's you having a lot of mini, people, really inspiring a lot of people to be a lot of mini leaders, right? Because everyone has the ability to lead, right? Everyone's got the ability. The ability to follow to me is just that it's truly you learning. It's you just taking that step back and learning and allowing someone to also rise to their full potential. And if you're really worried about it taking away your potential, then you're doing great things anyways, because you're showing good leadership, right? You're showing them, I want you to do better. I want you to succeed. I want you to try. I want you to take the risk, right? So it's okay to be a follower sometimes, especially when you recognize it's not my skill set. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. I think you're absolutely right there. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Thank you for the question. I appreciate it.
Yes, thank you, Declan. So do we have any more questions or comments before we wrap it up?
I have a question, Ms. Lightfoot.
Yeah.
In regards to the last slide, what do you think are your top 3 bubbles?
My top 3, here, let's get to them and I'll tell you. Number 1, I would love to say it's truly all 5, right? We'd all love to say like, yeah, it's definitely it. For myself, definitely number 1, because like I said, it takes nothing to give and to get respect. Well, to get respect, it does, because some people in this world just don't know how to give it, right? So that's why it makes it so difficult. But definitely number 1 for the fact of feeling respected. People feel valued. I mean, that's my job, is to make people see the value in themselves, to make sure they're being treated right by the people that are surrounding them. So definitely number 1. I definitely, like I said before, number 4, I didn't realize that challenging situations, I strive when I'm right on that bell curve of that stress, where it's like things are, I need a little more time. How many of you guys are procrastinators, right? I'm a professional procrastinator. By having a sense of a challenge, it keeps me in check, right? It keeps me in check. So for me, it makes it so that if I've got a challenge, if I told you I've got a deadline and I'm the leader for this organization and I haven't done what I'm supposed to do, it puts me in check. So definitely. And then for me also, I'm a lifelong learner. I'm always taking the opportunity to learn something new, to grow myself, to expand my mind, to even change my mindset. So definitely number 5 for that opportunities to learn and grow, because I feel like I said earlier, if I can get myself better, then I'm able to be the best I can to my students, to my clients, to my family when I've got it good. So if I'm not growing, I can't expect them to grow either. Right. So those are definitely mine. So thank you. That was a great question. I mean, I'll just add, I like number 2 too. I'm an extrovert and I love people. So hello, having a good work relationship, but that's just, that's innate in me. I've never met someone I didn't love. So it's one of those situations where that's an easy one for me. And then the clarity piece, I sometimes allow that to, rely on some other people to tell me what the clarity sometimes is, because I'm really good at seeing the big picture. That sometimes I really recognize I need somebody else to help me see those little minute things that I might miss. So that was a great question, Brandon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Charlene, I did have a comment. For me, the leadership, I was pretty much every category.
Right.
And I find that I'm every category mostly because I'm retired Navy.
Okay.
And
Thank
so
you for your service.
I would say shifting leadership styles. And so now I'm working in this job. That same thing that's great in the Navy doesn't apply when you're working with folks that are non-military. So I do think that I'm at a point where I'm growing into leadership styles that are way better and more acceptable for where I'm at right now. So to kind of go back to where you were saying about picking and pulling from those different things. So I get to pull a lot from a lot of different areas for the experience that I've gained over all these many years. So that matters, to be able to pull from what you need.
Absolutely. And like you said, it's checking yourself too, right? It's
Definitely. I took 5 years in between. I retired and then I knew I needed to remove myself from the thought process that's great in the military and in uniform that doesn't necessarily work here. And there was a lot of the ones you said to stay away from, but that's kind of what you need in that line of work. So I was in commanding and pace setting a lot.
Yeah. You had to, right? You think about what you had to do. Yeah. You had to, because I know nobody left behind. You had to, right? So that makes perfect sense. But like you said, it's keeping yourself in check and recognizing, okay, this doesn't work for this group. I'm going to have to shift it, because you want the buy-in, you want them to work with you, right? So that was an excellent point, Nikki. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Absolutely.
I was just thinking, like, yeah, you know, if you're under fire, there's no time to say, well, let's take a vote. Do you guys want to go this way?
In certain, exactly. In certain jobs and that in the leadership that's required to do certain things, you know, you don't have time to go, okay, everybody, can I get your opinion? It's this is what we're doing. This is how we're doing. Get it done, and by this time frame. And so to be able to have the ability to take a break, because I knew that life was not going to translate, well, that aspect wouldn't translate well into this job, working with students and just parents and people in general, to be able to turn it on and off and not need that anymore. I need more of the coaching, you know, different things. It's going to be in high demand in this job. So
absolutely. And the best part is being open and adaptable to the change. Because okay, I recognize this is how I used to deliver it. And maybe there's still those times, like I will tell you, especially with commanding, sometimes my emails to messages people sound a little commanding. Anybody with me? They sound a little commanding. I'm like, ooh, I need to soften that just a little bit, because it might be just taken the wrong way. It even comes down to that. It's like, okay, let me add a little finesse in it. Let me ask them how they're doing, how their day's going. And then I can still just ask what I still need and still get them to get it done. So there's like I said, there'll still be probably those times where that commanding is a part of you. It's a part of your training. It's a part of your, you know, the way you've experienced life. It's still going to be a part of you. It's just establishing how to use it and how to finesse it. That's all.
Right. Like what you said about, that self-reflection and knowing and being honest with yourself enough to know that doesn't work in this environment, and being willing and open to make the change necessary to be successful in this environment by using other skill sets that you do have and other leadership styles.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I have one final thing I'd like to everybody to kind of put in the chat. That's Nikki, your comments have kind of just inspired the thought. And I think, like, we've talked a lot about the fact that, you know, things that we want to grow to and stuff. If there was an area that you wanted to develop based off of your assessment, what would it be?
That's good. That's a good question.
I know personally for me, it would absolutely be the coaching piece. I think I coach well, but it's very much a physician heal thyself in that particular component. Like you said, like if you're going to be coaching, you have to establish, I think you have to have good boundaries when you're coaching. And personally, I think that's an absolute area I can grow in.
I find that coaching it's awesome, and it's a slippery slope at times, because you'll find yourself on the thin line between coaching and micromanaging, because you really want to see them be successful, but you just have to have the patience to pull away and let them do it and be in a supportive role rather than do it this way. And it can be easy to jump right back into do it this way instead of just coaching them.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So Ms. Gia is saying more confident in herself at work, and looks like you got some snaps on that one. Ms. Charlene shared visionary needs a little bit more work. Riley's saying she's too much of a perfectionist. It comes across as harsh or pace setting.
Let me put this one thing out, because I just heard this a little while ago. Maybe you guys have heard this one before, but that whole striving for perfection thing, I heard it says striving for perfection is like running a race without a finish line. You think about it, you're just running so hard. All you're doing is exhausting yourself, and you're missing on all these other opportunities because all you're doing is trying to get to perfection. So yeah, pull that back. You'll be all right.
Samaya is saying affiliative. She needs more patience and empathy. Stacia making the final decisions there, and communication a little bit. Brennan also sharing visionary. Christy's saying commanding needs more work. Some of you I have like direct connections with, so I'm over here and I'm like, yes, okay,
Yes.
good job, let's go.
Yeah.
The line of micromanaging and being the right type of commanding in certain situations, that's really like, let me know when you figure that out, Declan.
Me too.
Like whatever algorithm you used, can we follow that too, please? Abigail's saying coaching, but she feels like it would be great if she could learn more. Yeah, that perfectionist man, and a lot of you are ambassadors, and so you're almost pre-programmed for perfectionism, honestly.
Absolutely. And I'd like to say, so there's two things. One, it's like, like I told you guys, I'm a big sister. So I've got these big sister roles. It's really hard for me sometimes to turn those big sister roles off when I get with my group sometimes, because I kind of get into that whole mindset of this is kind of what I'm trying to help you get through, and just listen to me like I talk to my sister, and you have to really pull that back. And then for those of you that were saying like coaching and visionary are really ones you need to lift up, the simple one really easy way to do that with your groups. When you start your meetings, have everyone go around and tell them something new and exciting that's going on for them in that week, right? Get them to kind of, it disarms people a little bit. It gets people to start talking about themselves. It builds that harmony, right? It builds that synergy. It builds trust, because if I'm sharing something going on, it builds that level of trust. And then once you've got that level of trust, then you give the big picture of what you're trying to do, work on the big picture. And then the big part about visionary, let your hands go and trust your team. Give them guidance when they need to, but trust them. Okay, so that would be those are my definite endings.
All right. Miss Latanya says commanding, standing your ground even when others want to derail the process. That's also a physician heal thyself from your statements earlier. It's okay. It's okay. We'll get a Google MD at some point. Miss Leah says affiliative. She needs empathy also. I don't know. I think you got plenty of it, but we can always grow. Miss Doris says she thinks she mothers everyone. That's what she feels that she should do. I would venture a guess that other people may not necessarily find that to be the bad thing you might view it as. But yeah, I feel
if you're a nurturer, you're a nurturer.
Yep.
You're a nurturer. It's who you are.
We need you. We need you. Miss Angela, this has been awesome. To the audience, you guys were incredible. Thank you for engaging. Virtual world is so tough. So we really appreciate your collaboration and engagement in the chat for sure. I know I can speak the being a presenter and not having that is tough. It is tough. So way to give her a great show, guys.
I thank you guys so much. This has been I'll tell you, this has been probably maybe more fun for me than it was for you, because number one, this is the first time I've seen this many people in a minute. So I appreciate y'all. I do. Appreciate y'all so much. Thank you.
So yeah, this has been great. And so just so you guys know, this is a series that we are doing. We have at least one session every month. So the next one will be in March. And Sarah, I can't remember.
That one is controllers to corporate. So that is specifically talking about how you can take some of the skills that you would use when you're playing games, when you are playing, board games, whatever it is, having fun, how to take some of those skill sets at play and apply them to resume and apply them in an interview situation and practical application in the job field. So, going in and saying I'm awesome at Call of Duty is probably not going to get to the job unless it's making Call of Duty. But how do you take the skill set that you're using, the communication tools that you're using in those environments? How do you maximize that on a resume? How do you articulate that in an interview? And how do you use it in your job? So that's the next one.
Okay. Thank you very much. So with that, if we have staff members who are interested in giving a session, we are open. Just let us know and we can talk about, doing another session. But we also do sessions that are student-led. So our student leaders out there, if you have a topic that you want to share, if you have a leadership topic, and you don't have to be an expert on these things, but maybe you have really good experience doing like coaching or something, and you want to share something specific, talk to us. Miss Sarah, Miss Latanya, Charlene, let us know. your ideas. We already had one with the president of the Student Nurses Association about doing a COVID safe event. And she's also coming back this month to do another session, kind of actually springboarding off of this session. She's talking about teaching styles and how like one style doesn't fit all, and how are you teaching to different people. And of course, in a leadership role, teaching is part of that role. So you guys definitely want to come and check that out. That'll be at the towards the end of this month. Tomorrow, there is a leadership conference that is being hosted by the Open Door Project. So check out the Virtual Student Center and sign up for that conference and check it out. It's definitely, they have a really great keynote speaker, and they have some really good sessions and also some pretty amazing door prizes. So, you know, it's your time to grow and develop all of those leadership skills. And also, I think a quick plug that we also have drop-in D&D tomorrow evening, 6 o'clock.
Come imagine.
Right, so
Come imagine
again,
with us.
Thank you again so much, Angela Lightfoot, for coming and sharing this knowledge with us today. I think everybody has really, really enjoyed it.
Awesome.
All right, guys. We're
so much for the opportunity.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Zoom hands.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
You know, they're actually doing like a little study on that, like why we do this in Zoom. Why do we use the hands in Zoom? We would never do that to somebody in public. We wouldn't leave the conference room and be like, okay, bye.